The Berenstain Bears, Trouble at School. Written by, of course, Stan and Jan Berenstain. Yes, that's Berenstain with an A. And this book was pretty much adapted into the 2003 series by Nalvoa and PBS. And the 2003 series is where they say the little poems right here. Like this one. When a problem at school is kept secret too long, it can grow until a cub thinks that everything's wrong. Though brother and sister were usually very healthy, they occasionally caught a cold. So when brother came home from school one day, sneezing and wheezy, Mama Bear knew just what to do. Achoo! She took his temperature, tucked him into bed, and went right on the phone and called Dr. Grizzly. Sneezing and wheezing, and a temperature of 101, said Dr. Grizzly. Keep him in bed and give him plenty of liquids, and keep him home from school until his temperature is back to normal. Mama followed the doctor's orders, and little by little, brother's temperature began to go down. I feel a little better, he said. May I get out of bed? I'm afraid not, said Mama. The doctor wants you to stay in bed. But there's no reason why your stay shouldn't be as pleasant as possible. Papa, she called, would you bring up the portable TV? The portable had a remote control, and pretty soon brother was having a fine time switching from one cartoon to another. When he was tired of TV, he got out his comic books, and when he was tired of those, Mama brought him his dinosaur collection, and there was no doubt about it, except for his sniffles. Brother was having a pretty good time. So when sister brought home a folder of schoolwork for him, he hardly looked at it. He was much too busy having fun. But while he was home, having fun, his fellow students were at school, doing hard work in the classroom, where Teacher Bob was teaching a new math lesson. They learned how to add, subtract, multiply, and now they were learning to divide. On the soccer field, where Coach Bruin was getting the team ready for the big game against Beartown, Cousin Freddie, he called, take brother's place at forward. He's out sick. Yes, sir, said Freddie. This was the chance he had been waiting for. It wasn't until brother was all better and ready to go back to school that he remembered the folder of work. Oh well, he said. He thought, I'll study it on the bus. But that's where he heard about Freddie and the soccer team. He was so upset that he forgot all about studying. When Coach Bruin had extra practice during the early gym, brother became more upset. It wasn't easy watching Freddie take his place on the team. Then, brother got back to class, and Teacher Bob said, I certainly hope you studied that work folder because we're going to have a quiz. A quiz? Brother said. On what? On division, of course. said Teacher Bob as he handed out the quiz papers. In the TV version, they had a test. And Brother had more than one folder. Brother might have managed even then. He was good with numbers and might have worked on things out, only if he had been able to concentrate. All he could think of was Cousin Freddie out there kicking field goals while he sat on the bench. The quiz was a disaster. Not only did Brother get every single problem wrong, Teacher Bob wrote on the paper, "Very poor, must be signed by a parent." Brother didn't know which was worse, the soccer mess or the quiz disaster. What would he say to Mama and Papa when they asked him about how things had gone in school? He was so busy feeling sorry for himself on the bus ride home that he didn't notice that Sister was coming down with a bad case of the sneezes and wheezes. "Oh dear," said Mama, when she saw Sister. "You've caught Brother's cold." "Into bed with you," she said. And Papa were so busy attending to Sister that they forgot to ask Brother how things went at school. And he didn't tell them. And then the next morning, when the school bus came, Brother didn't get on the bus. He had hid in the grass until the bus was out of sight. The squirrels and bluebirds were puzzled. Brother was usually happy and cheerful, but not this morning. He looked unhappy and angry, too. "Phooey!" Brother shouted, kicking a stone. But kicking the stone reminded him of the soccer, and that just made him angrier. And the bluebirds took off, and the squirrels scattered. "Phooey on soccer!" he shouted, stomping through the woods. Stomp, stomp, stomp! The grasshoppers hopped. The toads stood stock still and pretended they were bumps on a log. "Phooey on school!" Brother shouted, stomping out of the woods. Pansies hid their faces. Ladybugs flew away home. "And," he said, reaching into his school bag, "phooey on division." He come to the top of a big hill, and he took out the quiz, folded it into a paper airplane, and sailed it high into the air. The hill overlooked a swampy overground bog. As Big Brother watched the quiz circle and swoop, he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. A familiar house at the edge of the bog. Grizzly Gramps was working on a ship model when he heard a knock. Gran was making cookies. They weren't expecting visitors. And they certainly weren't expecting Brother, especially during school hours. It didn't take long for the whole story to come out. Gramps and Gran listened quietly as Brother told them about catching a cold, the folder of work, the soccer mess, the quiz disaster, the missed bus, and the paper airplane. "Come with me, young feller," said Gramps. "I want to show you something." Gramps took Brother by the hand and led him deep into the bog. "There," he said, "that's what I want to show you." It was a very old wagon sunk almost out of sight into a muddy pond. How did it get there? Asked Brother. It wasn't easy, said Gramps. I went to a lot of trouble getting that old wagon into the swamp. And then, with a twinkle in his eye, he said, just the way you did, getting in over your head at school. It happened a long time ago, when I took a wrong turn, just the way you did when you didn't study at that schoolwork that Teacher Bob sent home. Well, instead of admitting my mistake and backing up, I pushed ahead until it was in so deep there was no getting out. And you lost the wagon? Said Brother. Yes, said Gramps. But I learned a valuable lesson. If you find yourself on the wrong road, don't just keep on going until you're in over your head. Back up and start over on the right road. How am I going to do that? Asked Brother. Oh, I think we can manage. But first, look over there, Gramps said, pointing. There was the paper airplane caught in a berry bush. What do you think they'll say? Asked Brother later, as they bounced along in Gramps' pickup. We'll find out soon enough, said Gramps, pulling into a stop in front of the big tree house. And let's not forget Gran's bag of cookies. They're her finest. Mama and Papa weren't exactly pleased when they learned about the big mess Brother had gotten himself into. But they didn't holler or pound the table either. Not even Papa. He looked like he might be going to when he saw the paper he had to sign. Gramps had tried to flatten it out, but it was still pretty wrinkled. What happened to this? He asked. Oh, said Gramps. It was just sort of folded a bit. That's when he brought out Gran's cookies, and there were 10 of them. Let's see now. There were 5 of us, counting sister. So how many of these cookies do we get? 2, of course, said Brother, dividing them up. Don't look now, young feller, Gramps said with a wink. But you just divided 10 by 5. Is that all there is to dividing? Said Brother. That's all, said Gramps. Come along now, said Mama in a no-nonsense voice. Where are we going? Asked Brother. To school, Mama said as they got into the car. But it's too late, protested Brother. Brother, it's never too late to correct a mistake, Mama said. And off they went. Brother got to class in a time for a retest. The class hadn't done very well on the division quiz, so Teacher Bob was giving them a second chance. Brother really concentrated and did much better. And that afternoon, he got a second chance at soccer too. It was the day of the big game against Beartown, and things weren't going very well. Brother, said Coach Bruin, I want you to go in for Freddie. I don't think he's quite ready for the first team. Glad to help, Coach, Brother said, and he ran out to the field. You know what they say, it's never too late to correct a mistake. And that's the end. That's pretty much it, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I'll see you soon.